Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Trucks parked on the street, and then when everything was done, I see it. People in the I can't wait to go to the president.
Yeah, I've been there. I went to the White House once so many years ago. I was with her vice president. We got to the street Ron's position, and we had to. I had never been in the White House, but like never, you didn't really feel like you were in the White House except for the security piece, and it was like
Right?
Like,
Yeah, no. Okay, we have time again. The music went back on. Are we trying to hear what we're saying? How's your temper? Do you need distillery water? I won't tell you.
I'm eyeing it. Like I just my nose was on it. It's just like that allergy drip.
Oh, yeah, I hate
No way everyone's gonna get back to call. If you ask, I'm either gonna walk off the stage or just gonna happen.
But it's behind your leg, nobody will know.
And you're from
This one doesn't fit.
Problem solved.
Which one is different than the other?
Distinguished guests, please welcome 8th grade student at Farnsworth Middle School, Annika Bupati. Also, Luna Heaven, Mothers Against Media Addiction from the Harlem chapter. And please stand and welcome the 57th, Please welcome Melinda Person from NYSET. And please stand and welcome the 57th Governor of the State of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Here we are at last. It's Teacher Appreciation Day. Anyone know that? Anyone appreciate our teachers? Yes, yes. And what better way to show our gratitude than making history together? And today, I'm here to announce the history part. New York is now the largest state in the nation with a K through 12 bell-to-bell cell phone ban because of all of you. And I want to thank some extraordinary leaders. Someone who has led this organization, NYSET, not for a long time, but her impact has been profound. And she was unrelenting in this cause. You know, when people try to tell us we can't do it, it's too much, leave it to the school districts, they'll know what to do. They could have done it all along. Melinda Person was the warrior I needed at my side. Let's give her another round of applause, our president of NYSET. Moon of Heaven, Mothers Against Media Addiction, the Harlem chapter, thank you so much for all you're going to be speaking in a couple moments. Thank you, Muna. Thank you for being a champion, helping us take this message all through the state. Anika Bupardi is going to be our 8th grade speaker from Farnsworth Middle School in Guilderland, who's going to tell you what it's like to be an 8th grader. Who wants to be an 8th grader again? Well, she's the brave one. She is an 8th grader. And Raj Goyal, who's the founder of Phone Free New York, will be joining us as well. I've been talking about this for a while, raised it last year, was told we needed some time to socialize it. I was ready at, hello, I mean, yes, let's just do this. But we needed to take it on the road. And I went around the state, all over the state, you know, North Country to Long Island, gathering teachers and students and administrators and principals and superintendents and the PTA and anybody who would sit down with me and hear from them about what the impact of cell phones in schools has been doing to our children. I didn't hear anything good. It was all negative, from the students on up. And when we said we could do this statewide, no other state has gone as far as we have. Well, maybe we could kind of, you know, just water it down a little bit, or maybe just, you know, maybe just during, you know, a couple classes you do it. And you know what? That wasn't good enough for us, right? Like we knew that you had that distraction, that temptation sitting in their pocket that you could whip out during lunch or study hall. They would never even talk to another student during study hall or lunch. So it defeated the purpose of giving children and students their childhood back. But there were those who were opposed. They said it couldn't be done. They tried to spread misleading information about this. But they sure as heck didn't know who they were messing with, because I had 700,000 members of NYSET on my side and many other supporters, as I said, the PTA and others, and we got it done. Now I'll say this. Anybody know I'm not a mom? I say it every single day. I've been a mom longer than I've been a governor, and I'm hardwired to protect kids, my own and yours. And I never back down when it comes to what's good for our children, because your family is my fight. I've been saying this since day one, and it still continues, and it always will be. So listening to these students asking for adults to intercede, I was so struck when I met a student not far from here. I've told her story all over the state. We're in a library, gathered around in a circle, and I'm just hearing the stories, what it's like. The pressure on these kids was immense, especially the girls, who are so subjected to pressures about how they look, where they wear their makeup, are they wearing weird shoes, or what their dress looks like, or their clothes, and were they being excluded from the meeting that was going on in the girls' room at that moment? Were they not being invited to a party? They had all this on their minds when they're supposed to be paying attention in a classroom. Even they knew it was too much. Their parents never had to endure this. We didn't have this going on. And I also heard from teachers who said, we just can't compete anymore. We just can't compete with the screens. And we're losing the battle of connecting with our students. All they want to do, starting in September, they want to develop a relationship with them. But the kids are just staring into their hand the entire class time, not absorbing a lot. And I heard from parents who are saying their kids are becoming more anxious and withdrawn. One mother's told me a horrible story. I was up in the North Country, and she said that she and her husband take shifts making sure one of them is home when their son arrives at the end of the school day, because he's so bullied during the day on his cell phone by others. He comes home in this state of depression. They don't know that he won't do something drastic. All because of that constant bombardment of negativity that this child was feeling. And it didn't have to be that way, and it wasn't that way before. So our kids are overwhelmed by the addiction, the addictive algorithms, and endless distractions. 95% of teenagers have smartphones. They receive 250 notifications a day on average. They can't possibly focus on anything else. They're so afraid of missing something. You know what FOMO is? I get FOMO sometimes. I know what it's like. But it's on steroids for our kids, because they'll be a social outcast if they're not included or something, and they're not always paying attention to this. I don't know how anyone could focus with that disruption. So we took it to the legislature. I did all my work. We had a lot of rallies back in September and events with Melinda and so many others. Gathered teachers were there. We kept this constant drumbeat moving forward. And we get to the legislature, and we're hearing opposition from some school districts who say, well, leave it up to us. And even some agencies, people telling us not to do what I knew we had to do, trying to make it difficult, or can we compromise? Can we have it part of the day, or just really during the classes, and trust the kids? When that young woman said, you have to save us from ourselves, I knew she really meant it. And that's exactly what I said we're going to do. So we knew we couldn't do half measures. Wouldn't cut it for me. I'm never a halfway person. But also, our kids needed us to be bold. Our teachers needed us to be decisive, and that's exactly what we did. And we stood firm for this. We will have no cell phones in a child's hand from the moment they enter school until they leave. No more memes instead of math. And so they're now going to be focused. And people say, why is this so important to you? Because I think there should be laughter in the hallways again. I think there should be human voices that you hear in gym class. I want our kids to make eye-to-eye contact again. I want them to enjoy the experience of real human connection, not just through a screen. And especially with this rise in AI bots. Are you reading about this? Where they can have artificial intelligence create a friend for them? Did you read the articles about how they turn into more than just friends, into very inappropriate conversations and activities? And we want our teachers to feel liberated to teach again. That's what I want. I want the laughter. I want the teachers to do what they can do. I want the kids to be free. So we needed to find a place where kids can learn and just be kids again. And I will say this, our kids' mental health matters. And I'm not going to let anyone, any company, any social media company, any tech company, think that they can own our kids' minds and their mental health, because that's what's been happening. And that's why last year we took such bold action once again in telling these companies, you cannot bombard our kids with your algorithms unless they've asked for that information. No more. We stood up, and the rest of the country paid attention because they couldn't even do it in California. No other state can do what we're doing here because we stand up for our kids and we fight. And in that fight, I also want to thank our educators. You're on the front lines every second. And so we got our kids back starting in September. School districts, get ready. And anybody who's not sure they want to do this, go talk to a superintendent like David Blanchard. David, where are you? David, stand up. David Blanchard, superintendent of Schoharie. He has been my hero because he is the one who answered all my questions when I first met with him and said, how did you do this? Because they did it in Schoharie and never looked back. And he said it was tough in the beginning, a little bit of resistance, probably a lot of resistance. But you know what? Resistance, but when you're in pursuit of a just cause, you can be overcome. You must overcome it. And that's exactly what you did in Schoharie. You paved the way for other school districts to see how it can be done. And your children are thriving, and they're connecting, and they'll emerge from school fully functioning adults who know how to communicate. So for future employers and others, this is the next generation of leaders in New York State. And I'm looking forward to the fact that this generation will be the very last one in our state that ever even knew you could have cell phones in schools, right? All right. Thank you very much. My great champion and partner, Melinda Pearson. Melinda Pearson, join us up here and tell us what it was like to be on the front lines, because you did an extraordinary job. So proud of you, Melinda.
Good morning. We are so honored to welcome all of you here today to NYSET headquarters for this celebration. And first, I want to say, Governor Hochul, thank you. You can see a thank you note here from hundreds of our members who wanted to send you a special message, because we know that this accomplishment is something that is going to truly transform our school environments. It is going to make a difference in every classroom, in every hallway, in every lunchroom, and it is because you had the vision, the courage, and the heart to make sure that we got it done. So thank you so much. This is not just a win for the state of New York. This is a win because we are creating a model for the rest of the country. It didn't happen by accident, and I want to recognize some of the incredible partnerships that made today possible. From the governor's office, to school officials, to law enforcement, healthcare experts, to parents, the New York State PTA, every educator, every advocate who refused to give up. This is not about being anti-phone or anti-technology. This is about being pro-childhood. Technology has been crowding out many of the other aspects of our children's childhood because screens are so ever-present in our students' lives. Phones have stolen the vital building blocks like face-to-face connection, spontaneous play, unstructured exploration, the ability to focus deeply, and the simple experience of being present with one another. And by passing a statewide bell-to-bell policy, New York State said, enough is enough. We are choosing to give our children back 7 hours of a day, 7 hours in their classrooms, in their hallways, in their lunchrooms to have curiosity, for human connection, and sometimes occasional boredom, right? Sometimes my kids say to me, Mom, I'm bored. And I say, thank God. Thank God. This is the space where you get to let your mind wander, to wonder, to come up with new ideas. We are choosing to invest in real childhood with all its laughter, its friendships, creativities, mistakes, discoveries, all of those things that have been missing. Because it's in those moments when a phone isn't filling the silence that real growth happens. That is why bell to bell was the only way for us to go. But our work cannot stop here. This bell-to-bell policy is a crucial step toward addressing social media and excessive tech use as the public health issue that it is. We need to keep having honest conversations in our schools, in our homes, and across our communities about how we can help this next generation reclaim healthier, happier, and more connected lives. The epidemic of loneliness is real. And we need to expand education efforts for parents and caregivers who are navigating the digital landscape alongside their children. Every time I put up a firewall for my own children, they find a way around it, right? They're better and faster at this stuff than us adults, and we gotta be on top of it. We need help. We must continue advocating for common sense policies and cultural change that prioritize the well-being of our children over big tech and their efforts to just keep making money off of our children. Together, we have stood up for childhood, and the future will be better for it. Thank you again, Governor Hochul. Thank you to every NYSET member here who sounded the alarm on this critically important issue. We are going to move forward together, and the best is yet to come. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Muna Heaven, Mothers Against Media Addiction, Harlem chapter leader and parent, as she delivers her remarks.
This is really great energy. I am so honored to be here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muna Heaven. I'm here as a single mom, child welfare attorney, and the proud Harlem chapter leader for Mothers Against Media Addiction, also known as MAMA. MAMA is a grassroots movement of parents and allies fighting back against media addiction and creating a world where real-life experiences and interactions remain at the heart of a healthy childhood. Like most of you, I'm a regular New Yorker that goes out every day, works really hard to make sacrifices so that my child can have the best education and life possible. We value education and the basic premise that our children go to school to learn and not to scroll. When I drop my daughter off at school, I expect that she will spend the day learning, developing social skills, and getting the tools that she needs to flourish. But this is not what was happening across the state. Instead, we've allowed devices to steal our children's attention and interfere with the critical and important work of our teachers. Who would believe that in 2025, the main competitor in the classroom would be a device? For too long, social media and gaming platforms have distracted our students and exploited their emotions for profit. And parents are understandably frustrated. This past Sunday, I had the pleasure of participating in the 5-borough bike tour in New York City. And I had on my neon yellow Mama jersey. It's very bright. And the Mama logo in red, Moms Against Media Addiction, was on the back. And I was so humbled and surprised at how many parents came up to me at the rest stops to just share their frustration, share how helpless they felt because of the negative impact of the cell phones on their children and in their lives. They were also relieved to see that there was an organization such as Mama, right? Basically, in essence, parents have just been waiting for our lawmakers to act because we all know we can't do this alone. Parents just want somebody to do something because we're in this together. Our lowest common denominator, regardless of your political affiliation, is that we love our children and we want them to learn and be their best selves. I was also surprised that as I was cycling, people would call out to me. They would say, Mama. They would ring their bells. I was like, this bell-to-bell thing is a common theme. It was so funny. And one gentleman rode up to me and he said verbatim, hey, Mama, I see you're keeping up. I said, of course I'm keeping up. And that's because mamas don't only keep up. Very often, we set the pace. And that's what's happening here in New York. That is exactly what is happening here in New York. New York, again, is the trailblazer, thanks to leaders like Governor Hochul, Mama's founder, Julie Scelfo, other incredible advocates. NYSUT, you just can't get better than the teachers union weighing in because they are who are with our children every single day on the front lines. And because of this collective effort, New York, as the governor said, is now the largest state in the nation to pass full bell-to-bell smartphone restrictions for all K-12 schools. This policy will not only improve educational outcomes, but the overall well-being of our students statewide. It's an exciting time in New York to see the legislature move with such command. And we own it together, that we cannot opt out of child protection, not offline, not online, and not in schools. This policy that Governor Hochul has pushed through rings its own bell. It has sounded the message loud and clear that in New York State, we value learning over scrolling, and that no matter how steep the incline, we will push forward and we will pedal through any challenge and any resistance as parents, as teachers, advocates, educators, all of us in this collective movement to move our nation forward, because we value our children and we will never, ever give up on the sanctity of their education. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would now like to introduce Anika Bupati. She'll be our 8th grader delivering her remarks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anika Bupati, and it's a true honor to speak once again alongside Governor Hochul. I'm currently an 8th grade student at Farnsworth Middle School, and I'm thrilled that the new legislation for bell-to-bell cell phone bans across New York State has been passed. This pivotal decision marks the end of a major disruption to learning by eliminating constant distractions, effects of cyberbullying, and allowing teachers to fully focus on what truly matters, educating and inspiring their students. As a student at Farnsworth Middle School, where smartphones are already banned, I've observed nothing but positive outcomes from the policy. With the distractions of social media, texting, and constant notifications removed, students are able to concentrate on their studies and engage in classroom discussions. The change has also encouraged more face-to-face interactions, helping students strengthen their social skills and build a stronger sense of community within the school. Additionally, with fewer obstructions, students are more likely to take part in physical activities during breaks and promoting healthier habits. Since the cell phone ban, the lunchroom has become much more social. Instead of everyone being glued to their screens, students are actually talking to each other. Friendships have deepened, and there's a noticeable increase in laughter and conversations. It's a more connected atmosphere now that students are fully present and engaged with their peers. In study halls, the lack of distractions has led to a significant boost in productivity. Students can now focus on their studies and be in a more concentrated environment. This shift has resulted in a more effective This shift has affected students with helping them with time management and improved academic performance of those without smartphones in school. In the classroom, the ban has been a profound impact on students' attention and participation. With fewer distractions, students are more focused on lessons, raising their hand, and contributing to a productive environment. In conclusion, the bell-to-bell cell phone ban has already proven to enhance focus, foster stronger connections, and improve academic performance. At Farnsworth Middle School, we've seen firsthand how this policy helps students thrive. This decision is a significant step forward for education in New York, and I'm confident it will continue to benefit students across the state. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for your strong leadership and commitment to supporting the futures of students. I look forward to seeing the lasting positive impact this policy will have. Thank you. The next speaker will be Raj Goyal.
Another round of applause for Annika there. Yeah, that's great, amazing. It makes me miss my daughters there. I'm Raj Goyal. I'm the founder of Phone Free New York, and we are so proud to be here today, and of course applaud Governor Hochul, the teachers, to get this really landmark legislation through. A bit of personal history as to why I'm involved in this. I'm a technology CEO. I'm a proud New York tech CEO. I started a company, we grew it, we successfully sold it, and I invest in companies. I love technology. I love what innovation brings, but I'm a dad first. I have two teenage daughters, one 13, one 15, one at a public school in New York City, one at a private school. And the hidden truth is that those of us in technology, we all restrict our kids from using these phones because we know that technology needs to be used responsibly and safely. And that is the actual reality of what happens with technology. We don't let it just don't let it grow unfiltered, unchecked. And that's the genius and the strength of what this legislation represents. I'm involved in both PTAs at both my daughter's schools, and I have to say there's very few issues. I'm actually a former elected official myself, Governor Hochul. I don't think we can agree in this day and age on whether or not the sky's blue, but yet this is a 70-30 issue. This is suburban, urban, rural, black, brown, red, yellow, white. We all know that we need to have these phones restricted. And I will say there's been a lot of conversation, as there should be. This is the largest state. I will also point out, I think we are the only blue state that actually has this, so that's another tribute to Governor Hochul's leadership. I will say, combined with the SAFE Act, which Governor Hochul mentioned briefly, that is truly a landmark piece of legislation as well. Governor Hochul has now positioned New York State to be the leading state in the country to actually protect not only children, but people from addictive algorithms, which big tech knows they're using to prey on us, and to protect kids at schools. This is a phenomenal step that actually I'm sure will get more national attention as well. She's had the courage along with legislative leadership. And I have to say, when you have the governor and the teachers, watch out. I've been around politics a long time. I was like, I think we're just going to stand back and let these guys do their thing. So we were very proud to be part of that. And I have to say, on behalf of parents, people all over the state, we really thank you. This is not an issue that you had to work on. And in fact, for the media out there, I will say the reporting hasn't always been super accurate. There's maps out there that say, oh, there's 16 states that have taken action. But I'd ask you, what does a classroom ban actually mean? Are we suggesting that it's okay to text while a teacher is teaching? Of course it's not. A true policy is really binary. There's either a bell-to-bell ban or there isn't. So the fact that they took the time to not compromise when we had opposition and to say that it is only a bell-to-bell ban, as the other speakers have mentioned, those phones go away for that 7 to 8 hours, that's a monumental step. And in a political process, there was every incentive to compromise, to say that we'll take a half measure. They didn't. I'm proud to stand with them, and I'm proud that we will now be protecting our children in New York thanks to their work. So thank you very much.